What is going on, DD fam? What's going on, Tim? What's going on, Mike? How are we doing today, bro?
We got a lot of stuff to do today.
It looks like it.
A lot of stuff. We're gonna pull the fuel tank out, and that's the last big part in the car that needs to come out. It's got like 100 pounds worth of fuel in it right now, so it's not gonna be that easy. Gotta go check in on the flywheel. They have it all drawn up. They want me to come by, check it out, make sure that it looks good. We need a bunch of random sheet metal pieces, so we're gonna go to the metal store and pick up that stuff. At the end of the day, hopefully we'll be able to push the car outside with nothing on it and pressure wash it. That's the plan. We're taking the trip. We got a lot of stuff.
Come on.
We can't put 20-foot sticks of metal in the Lamborghini.
I'm telling you, we just send it through the windows. We just have it going across.
I mean, that's what the wing's for, right? It's like
exactly. Dude, yeah, it's perfect. Here you go, catch.
I don't know what I need these for yet, but I feel like I'm gonna find something that we need these for, so I'm gonna get them. It's good when it's not your money.
We're looking to get one of these little carts here, or the little rollers.
Creeper.
The creeper?
Creeper.
Well, we already have one of those at the shop. Tim's still there. Yeah. Now, this one's cool because it kind of has a little carbon fiber texture.
Yeah, but
it's probably
we're not gonna use it that often. Yeah, it's $100, kind of pricey.
Do we really need that?
I don't know. It's kind of an essential shop tool.
Is it?
Yeah.
I feel like I always see him laying around, but no one ever uses it.
I don't know. We tend to use these pretty often.
Mike, we came for one thing.
Like I said, you never come for one thing.
Come for one thing, you leave
with everything.
Hold on. It's a 1,000-pound engine stand. Let's see it, Mike.
Lift with your legs.
Whoa! We are here at Osco.
I couldn't really give them dimensions, how deep the bell housing is, because we haven't built the bell housing yet. I asked them to build the stack of the flywheel, the clutch, the release bearing, everything that's gonna be in there, what the ideal height is, and we'll just double check that, make sure it looks good, and give them the go ahead. And then we'll make the bell housing to fit that assembly.
So basically this is what we've got. Put your input shaft easily
engaging all the splines.
All 3 splines.
Yep.
Gives us room for the flywheel bolt. Still uses the bearing as the index for the crank.
We're going to be putting a aftermarket ECU in this thing.
Okay.
I don't think we have to worry about the factory specs of how close or far the sensor needs to be.
I'm going to put it where it was.
Yeah.
And then whatever your gap is, 30 thousandths or 1 millimeter, 2 millimeters, whatever it is.
Yep.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Because I'm just going to cut it. We're going to use a potted clutch.
Okay. So it actually just sits inside of a groove.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's this right here.
Okay.
This register area. So that's what's going to index it.
Okay.
We're using a 4-plate.
Yes.
The only question I have is which 4-plate do we want to use? 1,120 foot-pounds, 1,360 foot-pounds, and 1,520 foot-pounds. Now you had said you were going to make 1,200 horsepower?
Yeah, possibly even more.
What do you think for torque? Because really it always comes down to torque.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're going to be near 1,000 pounds at the wheels.
We want to be in this. You're
Yeah, 1360.
The 1360. 1520 is a lot.
Yeah.
1360.
That might be the sweet spot because I know that the double diaphragm one's going to be harder to drive.
They're terrible.
Yeah.
Right? Especially in a 4-plate.
Yeah.
You don't want to do standing starts.
Yeah. So I think we'll go with the 1360 because I think we'll be well within our torque range.
And we pick the
with
right
that one.
master,
Yep.
the right slave, and we can put some travel back into it and ease up. Okay.
Perfect. Very good stop over at Osco's. Now we have measurements. Now we can go back to the shop and measure the bell housing and make sure that where we are going to cut that factory bell housing and weld a plate onto it is going to work properly. We want to make sure that there's a good amount of aluminum on the bell housing to be able to weld that plate on, and also that there's nothing that's going to obstruct us inside there. So now we are on the way to pick up some metal.
All right, what are we here to get?
There's sometimes when you need like, oh man, I wish I had like 6 inches of 1.5-inch square tubing.
I say that all the time.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
We'll grab some aluminum sheet. That way we'll just have some stuff at the shop. And when we need to make something, we'll have it.
I'll take one of those.
One of those.
I'll take one of those.
One of those. Watch your toes. Gotta move all of these cars out of the way. Unload the truck, and we can get to work.
Mike, you know what would be pretty funny right now? If you, no. Oh.
So we've spent the entire day getting parts, getting metal, and moving Dave's cars around.
Stop it! Stop! Oh my goodness.
That Ferrari is not happy that a Lamborghini is loud. It's not happy at all.
I know only the 599 can be loud.
It's like, hey
jealous.
man, that's my job.
Take that, Damon. We parked all the cars a little bit crooked. It's gonna drive him insane.
Well, they're all in now, at least.
Yeah, they're all in.
Back in their homes.
Yep. There's the cool cars, and then there's Dave's cars.
The golden cars.
There's a 1,000-pound engine stand. Oh, whoa! Strongman competition.
Kickflip.
Oh no, no! That could have gone. This is how you get them rollers. This is how you get them rollers. Hey, Mike, I have bad news. Come on.
Oh, look at that one. Dude, it's falling.
Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. This never came out of the truck.
No.
If you're watching the video right now and you work at Harbor Freight, you better not snitch us out. Well, this is why you keep receipts, ladies and gentlemen. So I gotta do. Oh, dude!
Chain.
But it's not gold.
It's not gold chain.
It's not gold. Dave's not gonna accept that, him and his gold Lamborghini. Okay, I understand throwing that. Okay. What is that?
Back here.
There he is. He's got it. I have an idea.
What is your idea?
Mike needs a fuel jug. I have a fuel jug. Grab the
see it.
blanket.
The blanket?
The blanket and maybe the sandbag. We're gonna need something to soften the blow.
Oh my gosh.
You think what I'm thinking, Tim?
Well, let's see if it works.
All right, here we go.
Mike's gonna hurry.
Nothing happened.
Well, I was thinking 5-gallon jugs, but
Do you think this will hold the gas?
I think it'll hold it.
All right,
I don't
sweet.
think there'll be a problem there. Running around all over the place today took longer than we expected. We're ready to drain the fuel. Got to get some funnels. We got to drain the fuel into this thing. Then we got to get the engine off of that cross member. And then there's another challenge because the back of the engine has very short studs. And the engine stand brackets that bolt onto here and go on the engine, but they've got these barrels that are too long for these studs. So we are going to chop it off and make it work on here. So we'll just chop all these 4 off of there. Then we'll be able to bolt them straight on the studs and we don't have to sit there and try to crank the studs out of the block and find bolts that fit. So cheap engine stand, it's a good solution for that. This is a metal blade, so it's not an abrasive blade. It makes a really nice clean cut, but it is super loud, like shriekingly loud, so got the ear protection on. This is also not a recommended way to cut this. Pretty sketchy, so don't try this at home. Safety first.
Safety first.
Look at that. Such a clean cut.
So were these for like to hold up the body panels?
They were actually to hold up like the brake lines, the fuel lines that they try to tuck as close to the body as they could. There's still a little bit more, but it's almost completely gutted now.
And yesterday there were a whole bunch of those clips up in the front that you had to take out, right?
Yeah, now the front's pretty much completely clean, but there's still fuel stuff in the back because the tank has all these lines attached to it for emissions, but we don't need those where we're going.
Yeah, that tank's coming out today.
Yep, definitely.
All right, we got these cut down. This should work now. There we go. All right, but first, let's drop the fuel tank out of that thing. Maybe if we drain the fuel, it would be light enough for us to just take it out by hand. We have a few other things left to remove. So we've got this little box here that's...
What is that?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
But we need to move it out of the way.
Yeah.
It's connected to the fuel tank. I think it's some sort of, it changes the power or something like that. And I think on this side, we've got the charcoal canister and all of the smog equipment that goes all along with the gas tank and the filler tube. So we're gonna have to disconnect those before we can drop the tank out. Then we gotta disconnect one of these hoses. So this is a crossover pipe. It's a saddle tank. So basically the tank goes up and over the transmission. And to make the fuel balanced on both left and right sides, they have this fuel line, sits at the lowest point of the tank and evens out both sides of the fuel. So I'm not sure internally if there's two pumps, one on each side, that are both feeding together. A lot of times they'll have one main pump on one side and the other pump will actually feed over across to this side. Or sometimes they have like almost a siphon vacuum thing that will feed the fuel over. When this main pump runs, there's like a Y that sucks the fuel from one side to the other and basically gathers all the fuel on one side. But that's not really important right now. What's important is we gotta drain this thing. Put some gloves on because it's pretty nasty stuff. Pop one of these clamps off of here. Yeah. Give me a lot of fuel going everywhere, so this is gonna be our best bet.
No.
It's not too bad. Like I said, it's gonna go everywhere. Well, we only spilled like 1/4 of a gallon, so that's good.
Good thing this stuff isn't toxic or anything.
Yeah, it's not toxic, it's not flammable, it's all good. This is leaded fuel. Leaded fuel is really nasty stuff. It's a good band-aid for tuning something that has way too much compression and way too much boost or something like that, but we want to go to ethanol. I'm a big fan of ethanol. I ran Ignite race fuel, which is 90% blend, so it's a little bit more ethanol than an E85 would be, and it works so well in all of my drift cars. My pro drift car is basically a 3.2 liter BMW motor that's sleeved down to a 3 liter. It makes 1,100 horsepower to the wheel, 11.5 to 1 compression with almost 30 pounds of boost and 150 shot of nitrous, and that fuel is so good. It doesn't detonate. It's such a good fuel for boosted applications especially. So that's what we want to run in this thing. It's so much less toxic and nasty and corrosive than this stuff is. So, you know, people always say that ethanol is really corrosive. It's not necessarily the ethanol. When you get E85 at the gas station, there's no regulation that says it has to be 85% ethanol. It can be anywhere from, I think, down to like 60% ethanol. And a lot of times the gas companies, they don't make ethanol. They'd rather you buy their fuel. So they buy ethanol from an ethanol plant that makes it, and then they add some of their dirtiest, crappiest fuel, and then they put stuff in like paint thinner and acetone and things like that. And that's what really hurts cars when you go and you run E85 and everyone's like, oh, you need a full E85 fuel system. I've run the Ignite stuff in a completely stock car with just upgraded injectors because you need more fuel for years and years and years with no issues. It really depends on the quality of your fuel, not just what type of fuel. We will run race ethanol out of a barrel that we know is the same, consistent every single time. I don't know, I think this tank might have been full. Dude, it just keeps going, and the tank is like pretty heavy right now. This tank holds, I think, 90 liters, like 24 gallons. That's a lot of fuel. For the race car, we're not gonna need nearly as much fuel. Most likely, we will go to a fuel cell. We just had to figure out positioning for the fuel cell and how everything else is gonna fit in the car, but for now, that's the plan. Tim. All right, we're good. All right.
Brand new.
Remember when we bought this and you were asking me, do we really need that?
Well, it turns out we still don't need it.
Dude, this is heavy.
Whoa.
Dude, it's like up to here. Yeah, I don't have a barrel wrench, so that'll work.
That was like...
This is one of the evap breather or vent lines that takes the fuel fumes, puts them in a charcoal canister. It's emission stuff that I don't think this car really uses since the Damon had it.
Trying to figure out how to pick the engine up. So a lot of times engines will have hooks basically bolted onto them. This has nothing. On the back of the block, there's a couple spots in the head where I could put a bolt, but it's not a big bolt. It's just an 8mm bolt there. I could grab this, but can't really grab that if I'm gonna bolt it to the engine stand. And then on the front, it's pretty bare. Like there's nowhere to really get a chain bolted to it, a ratchet strap or something like that onto it. Maybe these holes here, they're threaded. A hook of a ratchet strap in there, but I don't know. I might just pick it up from the intake manifold and just put straps around here. There's so many bolts that are going down from the intake manifold to the head, so I think it'll be plenty strong. And we're not gonna hang off the engine or do anything. We're gonna put it up, put it on the engine stand, it's gonna be down. So I think that'll be the easiest way to do it. Cross my fingers that this thing doesn't fall off the engine stand.
How much do you think this thing weighs?
I don't know, I'm guessing 500-600 pounds, I think. It's an aluminum block, but it's a V12, fairly big. I don't want that bracket to fall on your head. You got it?
Got it. All right, she's free.
It's kind of, there's like a lot of padding on there that's kind of
rubber
form fitted in there. Dude, this thing's hard to get out. I thought it was gonna fall on us, but yank it out of here. Yeah, this side's down more, so that's
it's caught on the padding.
I want to pull on it, but I don't want it to like just fall and hit me in the head. All right, it's coming more now.
There you go.
Yeah, now it's hitting the hoses or something.
A little bit.
Feels like something pretty solid.
Yeah, it's hitting there's like a plastic fitting on the end of the tank, I think. It's just
like
caught.
hitting right here, so maybe we have to disconnect this. Oh, there we go.
Whoa.
We can twist it. Is it clear now?
Yep.
Hang on, we got some wires.
Yep.
That little plastic bracket's really holding on that thing.
Tim, are you ticklish? Are you ticklish, Tim?
I think the answer is yes.
Mark, there's nothing in here, but still.
Let me see if I can unplug this clip. Wiring clip. Yes, I can without looking at it like that.
Woo!
Maybe I can disconnect it from the other side too. Okay. All right, I think that's all the wires off.
Alrighty. Good to go now then. I'm just caught on the lines. Hold on.
Yep. Yeah, I got the tank, I think. So you can get those. Okay, there you go. Good?
Yep.
All right. It's actually pretty light. It's an aluminum tank. Not as heavy as I thought it was gonna be now that we drained all the fuel out of it. So we just gotta pop that wire off there, and then we have a couple other brackets and hoses that need to come out. And this thing is 100% stripped down, except we still left the taillights in it. Take those out. Those are probably pretty expensive, and I don't want to bang them up, so pop those out of there and put them upstairs with all the rest of the parts. Get this thing off the rack, get it in the back room, put the engine on the stand, start building a roll cage for this thing.
Oh, it's actually light.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, it's just big. There you go.
Made it.
Mercy parts, Huracan parts, 550 parts, F12 parts. There we go.
I labeled some of it.
Hey, look at you, man.
F12 copyright.
Oh my goodness, Tim. Hey, well, we appreciate you making sure we don't get sued.
We are looking for the bell housing bolts, and they would be in a little baggie. I see baggies here, so I'm assuming it's in here. Headlight, fender, doors. All right, so it's not in this area. Oh, I see something more. This under tray's in the way. Subframe, promising. Flywheel, getting closer. Never mind, that's colder. Oh, there it is.
You got it?
Found it.
We've got a stud down here, but no stud over here, which is not gonna fit the starter anyway, so we'll have to go off of here. We might grab this one, and then these two, if it'll work like that.
So those two work. This one needs to go on, but see?
I don't know, it's in, oh, there we go. If I twist it like that, it'll almost work. I mean, we're good here because this is lined up with the crankshaft, so
straight,
it'll rotate well on the engine stand. But I think if I put this in the bandsaw and cut this corner out of it,
Yeah, make a recess for it.
yeah, I think that would give us enough clearance to get that on there. Not the first time we're using the bandsaw, but the second time. But this thing is awesome. It's a big 20-inch dual. That stud was hitting. You can even see the mark right there from the stud. Not that mark, but this mark. And so we're gonna chop this off and give us a little more clearance there, and I think we'll be able to get this thing on there. It's just an odd engine. Bell housing is very small. Most car engines have really big bell housings and big clutches, so that's just, I guess, another...
Mike, I see cool buttons. How do I turn it on?
Yes, start.
Can I do it?
Start. Well, it was working.
Hold on. I think you might need the work lamp.
Work.
There you go. How about now?
Oh wait, you know what? They might have turned the fuses off. Oh yeah. There we go. I haven't made a push stick yet, so my hand isn't right there next to the blade. And I can put some force on this. I also won't cut my hand off if I slip. Big plate, like 1/2-inch steel. Okay, now let's see if that works. Bolt all these things back on there, and then, so we got clearance for that one, we got clearance for this one. I think we're looking good now.
Nice.
That's perfect.
Okay, and we can center it up right there. Another Harbor Freight purchase. It's coming in handy right now. On there. Nice. Because we had to rotate this sideways, the pin isn't going to fit perfectly. So we're going to have to kind of put the engine a little bit sideways to get the pin in, but then it'll be locked in place. All right, now cross your fingers and hope that this Harbor Freight engine stand is going to hold it.
Seems like it's good.
It's really sketchy.
Whoa.
It just keeps going.
It's free.
Hang on. Let me check it first. This is, no, that's not gonna work. I tried not to spend too much money and buy the cheaper engine stand, but I feel like that was a terrible mistake right now. I think we need to go back to Harbor Freight and get a bigger engine stand, because there's no way I'm gonna put this
sketchy.
$50,000-$60,000 engine on this. Dude, look at that.
Three-wheeling.
Let's go to Harbor Freight, and then we'll come back and we'll try again. We might need to get the better creeper because the other one already broke, but maybe we should get the steel one because I don't really trust these plastic ones anymore after that wheel fell like through it. Yeah, Tim, what color do you want?
What colors are the options?
Well, there's a green one here. Nothing else.
Yeah, so it's green, I guess. At least now we know this one is the best.
Best. There was good. I think we got the worst.
Here's a 2,000-pound one. This is the 2,000-pound one. Round 2 on the engine stand. Tim's assembling this one. A little bit wider. I think the other one's about that wide. This has the double legs instead of a single leg with a kind of a T bar on the end. Hopefully this will work. Hopefully the engine won't fall off of this one. And now I got to make this one fit on the F12 motor again. So I'm gonna figure that out while he's bolting this together and see if I have to cut these things down. Yeah, these have the big posts too. So let me see if I can use the old ones on it, because that would be the easiest. Let's see if we can maneuver it out of the way, because right now that stud is completely covered up. And we need to be able to bolt it onto there. Trying to get the biggest spread. I don't want them all next to each other where the engine wants to tilt and fall off of here. That'd be terrible. There we go. You creeping?
I'm creeping. The new creeper is pretty good. I can tell that this was the best one that they had.
It looks quite a bit sturdier than that plastic one that broke after, what, 30 seconds?
Who knew they weren't supposed to be jumped on?
I know, right? Come on, it's a creep.
Come on, Harbor Freight. All right, here we go. You think it's gonna work?
If it doesn't work, I'm going home. This is ridiculous. No, that's all right.
Oh!
What happened?
I touched the hose.
Oh, it sprayed you?
Oh, Tim.
It's making a mess.
I'm in between the holes.
All right. Is it mostly in there?
I think it's all the way down. Oh,
There we
there
go.
it is.
All right, that still feels kind of sketchy, but more stable.
Whoa. There's a lot of sway there.
Well, it's off the. Well,
It's pretty much off of these.
Yeah.
It's a big engine. It's really big. So it's longer than a straight 6 would be by probably 3 or 4 inches. It's got twice as many cylinders. I still don't really like that. It's not very confidence inspiring. And that, look at that wheel picking up right there. It's fully off the ground. So we've now spent like $400 on engine stands that don't work. I really wanted to tear into the engine and see what's going on with it, but I started thinking about the process. We are putting a different transmission in this car. So we are going to modify the stock bell housing and bolt a transmission onto the back of the engine rather than a transaxle, which is why we have a quick change diff that's gonna be at the back, custom drive shaft. But I need to basically make the bell housing, at least mock it up and tack weld it, fit the transmission on it, bolt the engine and transmission together, and then put that back in the car and check to see if it fits. If it doesn't fit, then we have to cut the transmission tunnel out. And that's something that needs to be done fairly soon. I don't want to build the entire roll cage and then later on find out I'm gonna have to crawl in and out of the car with the door bars and everything in the way to be able to modify the transmission tunnel. I want to get that transmission mocked up and put it in the car. And if we take the engine apart, we're not gonna be able to do that. Unfortunately, we're gonna have to wait a little bit to tear into the engine and see what's going on with that. The sooner we get the engine apart, the better, but I think we might just need to start calling around on parts and seeing what's available, because if they're not available for a year, then we got to go a different route. We got to figure something else out. We got to buy another engine or whatever it comes down to when we pull this thing apart and find out if there is damage, how much damage there is, what's damaged. There's so many variables. This whole race car build it's going to be a huge process, different process to what I'm used to, especially with the aluminum chassis, trying to figure out the most efficient way to do it. We just heard the ratchet strap start to make some weird noises. I don't know if it was just like resettling, but either way, I got to get this thing down on something a little more stable.
Oh, trusty Mark.
Why are we using a wooden cart?
How's that look?
Looks good out in the front. Solid.
This is probably how they do it at the factory, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
You think so?
In Milan, Italy.
Yeah, just like this, in a little wooden cart.
Oh my god, that's so light. This got to be one of the lightest front cross members. I mean, it's massive, but it's super light. Pretty impressive. I think the chassis it's got to be really light too.
Yeah. You think
It's another thing we need to
we
weigh.
can carry it?
I know that we can, but should we?
Yeah, probably not.
Probably not.
We'll find out.
I'm 43. My back, give my back a rest. Put some dollies to work. We're gonna take the car outside and pressure wash it. I hate working on dirty cars. This thing is, you know, it's normal. It's just got a ton of road dirt, grime, tire rubber, I'm sure. Really easy to clean right now. And if we do that now, when we're working on anything, when we're removing seam sealer or bolting parts on, taking them off, we're just not gonna get as dirty. It's gonna be a lot nicer. We're gonna put the dolly back under it, roll this thing outside, give it a quick bath. You know, at some point, we're actually gonna start working on a roll cage for this thing. I promise, at some point we will.
You're putting a lot of faith in these little carts today.
They say 1,000 pounds each. I mean,
Well, yeah, the engine stand said 1,000 pounds, and look at that thing.
Something.
almost we're in like stuck in a crack here.
We're good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull these taillights out right now, and then we can get all that sheet metal clean.
All right, you done?
Are you looking at my headlights?
Oh,
My taillights,
your
sorry, my taillights. of just hitting me now that we took apart a $350,000 car, plus all the mods that were done to it, and now it's a bare chassis. And there is so much more work to be done. It's pretty overwhelming, the cost of the car and how much money we're gonna spend on it. It's so crazy that we're doing this. It was a running, driving car, and now it is literally rolling on these $3 carts. I'm really excited about this project, and I hope you guys are too. One of the most epic builds ever.